Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. Today you join me on the banks of the beautiful River Dane and we're in search of chub. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning now and you join us on the bank after a bit of a road trip around Cheshire and Lancashire. We started this morning around about 6 o'clock on the banks of the River Ribble, but when we arrived it was bombing through after rain overnight in the higher reaches. The river was bank high and a mess. We decided to jump in the car and travel from Lancashire all the way down into Cheshire, and you now join me on the banks of the River Dane. So at this time of year, January and February, chub are by far the species that is going to dominate your fishing on the River Dane. In the higher reaches you might run into grayling, and in between the odd roach and perch and dace. But today I would imagine it's going to be mainly chub. The river behind me has just got a tinge of colour, the level is very good, and it's one of them rivers when you arrive on the bank and you see it, you know you're going to catch. If you fish the stick float and fish rivers regular, you know exactly what I mean there. You get that tinge of excitement because you just know it's bang on for the bite. So there is one problem today, and that is the wind. It's terrible, it's gusting downstream and you can probably hear it on the mic now. I'll do my best with the video and I hope that it doesn't come out too bad in the edit. So while we've got a gap in the wind, I'll quickly go over the setup. It's my 12 to 14 foot glide rod from Corbin. I've got it set at 14 foot today. I've got that teamed with a Corbin axis reel with 4 pound 4 ounce float fish. Down to the business end I've got an 8 number 4 stick float, evenly distributed number 4 Dinsmore shots, down to 2 number 8 Dinsmore droppers, and a tiny size 16 Camazan animal hook. The hook link, 1 pound 7 ounce Bay of Pearl on, which seems really light, but if you watch the channel regular you'll have seen, you know, the type of fish that you can get in with this light setup. Side tray for today I've got around about 2 pints of red maggot, nice and fresh from the bait shop yesterday. I always get my bait on the Friday before the session or the day before, so it's nice and fresh. I've got around about 1.5 pints of Cheshire particle hemp, and just showing how simple stick float fishing can be, barring the hook link. It's the bare essentials. You've got the hook, the weight, disgorger, a pair of scissors and a plummet, and it's as simple as the tackle that you need for stick float fishing, barring the float and the hook link that's on the line. Swim for today, we're on the inside of a bend, a nice trot downstream. What it means being on the inside of the bend is you've got the more gentle water here, but there's enough pace on the river today to give it the flow to pull a float through. So what you've got to hope is these chub are sitting down this inside. There's a snag downstream, as you can see there's a tree there, and you just got to hope that these chub are holding in that slacker water rather than the pacier water further out. But what a lovely swim to wet a line. As you'll probably hear me say a couple of times on this vlog, the wind's a nightmare. It's a terrible downstream wind, but luckily, like I said at the start of the vlog, we're only here for the latter part of the morning into the afternoon, and it's certainly better than a day sat in work. There we go, first trot down of the day, and just shows how important it is to just trickle those maggots in at the start. Just trickling them maggots in, setting up the bank, vitally important. A few more maggots, just slightly above the peg. You can see we've got quite a lot of the peg to go down, and always have a marker today. I'm using that tree on the far bank. I'm just putting a few grains of hemp just round about there. In this area here is where you're expecting to get the bites. Obviously that chub was straight on them maggots and a great start. Let's take a look at it. So as first trots down the river go, it's not a bad start, is it? They say the wind's going to be a bit of a nightmare today, but that's fishing. The first trot down the swim, and what a great start. Let's get this one straight back and see if any more have come onto that maggots we fed at the start. But just showing how putting them maggots in can get them on you straight away. That mouth was straight on them maggots, and what a great start. Let's get it straight back. It's just about getting their confidence back, and getting one that early, you'd expect there may be one or two more about. They're a bit like dace, where there's one, there's normally another. So it's just about not being in too much of a rush and just getting the confidence back. I'll do that for 2 or 3 minutes and then we'll make another cast. And as always, the key is to get every one of them out. With chub, the last thing you want to do is lose one. We won't get the camera set up for that one, but about £1.5 pound chub in mint condition. And you can see a sign of how flooded the rivers have been this year by just how lightly coloured the chub are. But second chub and one happy angler. Let's get it straight back. So as starts go, it's a fantastic start, and really it's just about repeating it. And like I said in other chub videos, it's like a game of chess really. You've got to start outwitting them. The first couple that come to the bait you generally will catch. As the session goes on, you'll find that, you know, you might go a bit further down the swim. You're certainly not really going to get them a bite of chuck every cast. So that game of chess does start, and at the moment I'm just trying to get that excitement going of the fish, like there's food coming in the river. Let's get on it. So third trot down and smaller than the other one, and another chub coming to the net. So there we go, third chub of the day in as many casts. The smallest of the 3, but nonetheless welcome. It's a great start to the session that, you know, a couple of early bites is more than you can ask for on a winter's day when these shoals do show tightly, so you can be a couple of 100 yards away from them at times and miss them. Today we are most certainly on a few fish. A great start. 3 chub. Let's get feeding that swim again, build their confidence and get another trot down the river. One thing in chub fishing is change baits, and today I have brought red maggot with me, but I've also brought a bit of bread. Now I won't change anything now until this stops. There's no point changing what you're doing until single maggot, double maggot, triple maggot stops working. That's when you'll move over to the bread to try and fool them. Trickling maggots into the swim is working, just keep on doing it. And let's make another cast. And really not too eager to get in the water, you know, a good 2 or 3 minutes just putting bait in upstream, and then we're going to make another cast on that inside line, just holding back, and there's another one. You can just see as I held back the float then, and it fluttered back down. You hold back to make the bait flutter up in the water, and then when you let go of the line it drops, and it's that fluttering up and down in the water that fools them, and it definitely fooled this one. As it dropped back down, the float buried. And this is my favourite time of the year, you know, winter, where it's a bit cool, the dace and the chub are all feeding, and today these chub are really on the feed. January and February on the river, my favourite time of year. With 4 chub in less than half an hour, it's very easy to get carried away and start piling maggots in and thinking there's loads of fish there. It's just about being a bit restrained and just keep putting them maggots in, maybe beginning to spread the maggots out a bit, so you know a few of them are going on to that middle bit as well, and what it'll give you is them shoal will be moving over a bit more of area and not spooking them as much if you get one, and they'll be working over the bigger area, so you're picking them off one at a time. It is an excellent start to the session, and I just wish that it'd stay like this, you know, calm. Just going to feed them maggots into the swim, and I'm dead excited inside to make another cast. It's like you're dying to get back in, but you just got to be a bit, you know, a bit restrained about it. And if you do that, you've got every chance of getting a few fish out. So after 4 chub in the first half an hour, we've probably gone about an hour and a half now without a bite. And that is what winter fishing can be like for chub, especially if your river is like this one, where in winter it really is only the chub that are on the feed. But you have got to keep putting that bait in. That is the most important thing with it. You've got to keep that bait going down the river and give them a reason to come up. You know, try and attract new fish into the swim from downstream and get some of that shoal that might be still around back in the swim and confident. But you can only do that if you keep putting the bait in. And winter chub fishing for you, out of the blue, the float has just buried and we're into another chub. Typical of chub, just trying to do you on the inside bank on your keep net. That's one thing you can always guarantee with a chub. They always fight, put a bend in the rod, and they give everything. It looks like the best one of the day. So with the wind blustery for the last hour and a half, what reward that is. Exactly £3 on the nose. That's a lovely chub, and just shows you just got to stick with it. They're there, but they're not silly. These better chub, you know, grow wise as they grow older, and you've just got to keep at it till they slip up. £3 exactly. The sun's just come out and the wind's actually stopped for a moment, so we'll get it straight back. And like I said earlier on the video with chub, it really is feast or famine. The very next trot down, the float is buried again and we're into another chub. And this looks a proper warrior. There's a few run-ins with a cormorant, it looks like. Let's get him straight in. And there's that chub, and one thing I love about chub is their defiance and resilience. As you can see on screen now, it's had a run-in with a pike or a cormorant at some point. I think it's a pike, because you can see the semicircle mark of a pike. But that's what I love about them. They fight hard and just full of character, defiant, battle hardened, and yeah, they've got that resilience about them, haven't they? A lovely fish, and just shows they're there. 2 chub in 2 casts again, and hopefully we can pick up 1 or 2 more, and maybe we might have to wait till they come back in again. But let's get it straight back. So if that last fish was in the wars, then this one is like a newly minted one, not a fin out of place and in mint condition. I really enjoyed this session. It's not been easy. That wind has made control very hard and presentation, but well worth it when you get them. And like I say, they just come into the swim. With chub, it is all or nothing. 1 minute they're there and 1 minute they're gone. You've got to make the most of it while they're in the swim. Let's get this one straight back. So like I always say with the chub fishing, losing one is never good. I thought I'd just clipped the snag, and I did think it had kicked, but that just confirms that we foul hooked a chub. So we'll have to see what effect that has on the swim. We are moving into that last hour and a half now, so like I always say with the chub fishing, the odds are slowly moving in our favour. You know, as we get into that witching hour, you would think they would come on. We've got some cloud cover coming over, so there's every chance that that might not be as bad as we think it's going to be, that chub being lost, but it's never good. And that lost fish did prove costly. It seems to have taken an age to hook into another one, but eventually that float is buried and we're into another chub. Got about probably half an hour of the session left. So with half an hour of the session left, getting these guys out is imperative. We can't really afford to lose one. And this guy's just plodding down the middle of the river. Just got to take a time. A lovely bend in the rod and the reel just ticking over nicely. And you've got to have that balance when you're using such a light hook link on that 1/7 bottom and tiny hook. It's all got a balance. Your reel's got to be set right. How about that for a reward for all that hard trotting today in that wind? Travelling from the River Ribble down to the Dane. Was it worth it? You bet yeah. £3, 10 ounces and a lovely chub. I'd be all over the river as you've seen, solid on the bottom, and these fish are the ones that get away with it all day and you have to, you know, work at, and eventually they slip up. Just holding back over that hemp, the float buried. The wind actually did drop just as it was about to trot down, and it has helped when the wind has dropped today. But yeah, more than made up with that fish. Let's get it straight back. So the session comes to an end there now. An enjoyable day's fishing, and boy was it good making that decision to move from the Ribble down to the River Dane. Only a few hours by the time we got set up. We were well into the morning, but to get them few chub early on and then nice chub in the afternoon when the better fish arrived, more than made up with that. It's been a hard day. That wind has made presentation almost impossible at times. It's been coming down the river, blowing your float into the edge, and only now at the end, when it's time to pack in, has it gone calm. These type of sessions are over all too quickly, both the day that you fish and the season. It won't be long before the season ends and the signs are all around us. You've got the daffodils at the top of the bank today, and the temperature today was about 10 degrees. So change is all around, and it'll be gone before we know it, and we'll be into the close season. The final net, as you can see on screen now, more than enjoyable, and really enjoyed today. As I always say, the days where it's hard are the days that I enjoy the most, and today was hard to get that presentation right. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog, fishing for chub. If you have, it'd be great if you could leave the video a like and maybe subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. There are videos every Friday at 6 o'clock, and I do try sometimes to get a midweek video out as well. All that remains is to wish you all the tightest of lines. I hope you'll all have a fab time bankside this weekend, and until next week, tight lines, and I'll catch you all later. Tight lines.